the Gooners podcast. And Michael, it is our first review match of the season. Should I start calling you Heavy J?
Heavy J. We're gonna have a battle between Heavy J and Heavy D at some point. But Heavy J is in the house. You know what I'm saying? I'm not wearing a wig, and I've lost 84 stone. But yeah, Heavy J.
Well, how
Where
are you,
are you,
Mike?
by the way?
I am in the United Kingdom, in Buckingham Palace, just in the servants' quarters. Anyone who has taken citizenship of another country has to come back to the UK and work for a week as the Queen's bitch, and then I get to go and enjoy my family. So, where
So
are
you're in the
you?
UK, but you're not seeing anybody that that's been like waiting for your presence. You're just avoiding everybody.
As usual.
Yes, per usual. Yeah. Well, I came to Denver last month, and I never even saw him once. Like, I waited outside his house, and he was just like, "Sorry, I'm busy." And I'm like, "I came all the way there to see you."
You were
I'm in
staying in my house
Chicago.
too.
Yeah, exactly. And he walked around like with a sheet over his head, so that it looked like
Whoa.
yeah, not to yeah. I don't mean that in any kind of way. I am at the Marriott in Chicago right now. I've been taking a grand tour of the Midwest, as someone said in the chat. I'm drinking my way through the Midwest at this point. Drop my daughter off at college, man. That I come across as far too young to have a daughter who's going to college. I mean, a
Yes.
guy in his mid-20s normally wouldn't have a daughter who's going off to college, but it is the case. So she's gone. I'm now a parent of one less person, and we're in Chicago. And I do want to give a shout out to the Chicago Gooners, who have an incredible pub. Posted some video yesterday. Some probably 120 strong there watching the game yesterday.
You at the
And it's like
Globe?
that at the Globe Pub with the Chicago Gooners. And I've been there 3 times now, and it's like that week in, week out. So definitely one of the stronger performances of, but not by any means an unusual thing here in the States. So
No.
until I saw the guy wearing the Mourinho one Manchester United jersey, I was feeling pretty strong about the United States and their football fandom, and then that just put me over the edge.
Well, and if you're ever in America or you need to know a place to watch a match, just go straight to the Arsenal America Facebook board and just ask in the group section, where can I watch a match in, and put the city, and you'll get lots of responses as to where you should go. So, so we might be joined by my third favorite judge, after Judge Judy, some other guy I've never met with the same last name, who just joined a text message group we're in, and lead judges. So we might have him ping in when
He's
the
my
same
fourth
old.
favorite, because Mike Judge, the creator of Beavis and Butthead, is right up there as well.
Oh, well, yeah. So I mean, 3.5 for me then, because Beavis and Butthead, one of them looks way too much like Harry Kane for me to, you know. But Mike, we are here
Get
to talk
excited
about
about.
Newcastle, and let's jump right in, because we
Yeah.
got 3 points on the road with the clean sheet, which we didn't get to say much last year. It was a match that saw what I think was a pretty expected lineup and a very strong bench. We had some injuries, so I think the lineup wasn't a major surprise. It kind of forced Unai's hand a bit, and then the Turkish
I mean,
Mafia
injuries.
forced it a little bit more.
Jesus, I mean, it's too early to speculate what's going on there, but like suffice it to say, I'm not like cracking jokes about it.
No.
It's a bad situation, and I think it probably was a little bit best or not best idea to hound dude after the original attack right outside his house, probably with a wide angle lens enough to get the street sign on there so that anyone and everyone could just find out where dude lives. Yeah, I mean, I have a feeling we have not heard the last of the situation. I'm hearing that Kolasinev's wife has actually left England, and I'm not. I mean, I've heard that through third parties. I don't know that to be true, but if that's true, like for her safety, this is a developing situation.
Yeah.
He shouldn't be made to have to cage fight every week, even though he could do it.
Yeah. I think at
Are
the
you
end of the
feeling
day,
safe? I mean, like, are you? I mean, now that you're over there, are you? And this is an American saying that, so I realize that that's a little ridiculous. But yeah. All
oh
right,
no, I mean,
let's move on.
yeah. So
There's a different attack I'd like to talk about, but like you said about the lineup, I think there were some questions about who exactly would get the start based on there being so many people who were probably close to being ready. Um, and Unai went the way of not starting anyone who wasn't 100% ready, 100% fully trained. And, it's easy to say this after the fact, but, it certainly seemed like the right move. I think he made a comment in his press conference that he wanted to, as much as he didn't want to put anyone out there who might not be fully match fit, he wanted to reward the people who were there from day one. He wanted to give Joe Willock a chance to make the team. I think he's made the team after my encouragement. But he wanted to put out the guys for the most part that are 5 weeks in, or 3, 4, 5 weeks in, rather than a week or two in, and it paid off. It was brilliant,
yeah,
brilliant man management.
and I just want to address Thunder Road has said the Gooner Talk is also live. I thought you guys coordinate these so we don't interfere. And as I've
No,
written,
we coordinate so that we interfere.
yeah, I wrote Tom is our enemy, and we will not rest until he's on his
Yeah, no, I
knees.
could see.
Oh, you
Well,
can.
he's
Okay,
been on his knees plenty,
yes.
but yeah,
This is just one of those circumstances with us being in very different time zones that we are going to overlap with TGT. Tom actually did ask us to come on, but we, obviously, Mike and I actually, this is like 4 hours ago. We put this together really quick to just.
Tom is so skint that he can't afford even a third of our fee.
No,
So
he can't. He's just had to buy so much rice because whose phone nowadays, when it gets dropped into
first
water,
of all,
isn't waterproof?
did I miss something? Because he said his phone's about to die. I'm like, how much warning do you normally have that your phone's about to
Well,
die?
I
Was
think
it
he
water?
did
I didn't
something.
get
I
that.
thought he dropped it in water, and then he texted, Facebooked, and Twitter DM'd us, being like, "Just so you know."
Yeah, just so you know, like for someone that we don't really care one way or the other whether we hear from him or not, he was awfully worried that we would care whether we
Oh,
heard
I
from him
love
or not.
Tom, and I want to hear from him all the time.
No, we
Um,
do, and that's why we're making this first half hour especially non-entertaining, because we don't want the people who are at TGT that miss the actual show that we're going to do. So when they're done, when you're watching this back later, having already watched TGT, you'll see what you missed.
well, Thunder Road's blocked there, so he's staying here. I mean, that's what we want. Is we want his
Blocked.
we want his blocked supporters.
He mentioned the ACL injury one too many times, and that's it. He's done so.
Oh man, if that were the
Absolutely.
case. Well, so speaking of, us being the more boring of the two options, I guess we'll go to what was a pretty boring first half. What a segue there.
Oh, awful.
I think Unai went through a range of emotions in his technical area during that first half, from anguish to anger. I mean, we struggled with their five-man midfield, breaking through their back line. Do you think there was, kind of a Premier League cobwebs that needed to be shaken off, or do you think that downpour of rain just slowed the game down as well? Because it's hard to play in that.
Yeah, I mean, from my years as a pro, it is hard. Uh, I mean, we were always going to struggle in this game once we realized how many people would be missing, the drama that was going on. I mean, this was never going to be a 4-0 win, like that this weekend. But you've got your players who haven't necessarily played week after week together, people plugging in spots that they really wouldn't be plugging in for, and to end with a 0-0, I think it was a good thing. We were never going to see this kind of when Arsenal clicks and when the players come together and it just looks like the chemistry is in full effect. It's a beautiful thing to watch. Even I mean, it always has been, but we've seen moments of that last season and the season before. We're never going to get that in this game. Being a boring first half, I honestly had trouble following the game in the first half because dudes in this pub had not showered since the Eisenhower administration. And I mean, most of the first half I spent just vomiting because I mean there was a guy who smelled worse than any person I've ever smelled in my life in the pub. I'm pretty sure he's not a listener, and if he is, then just take a shower. But so anyway, the first half, I'm glad it was boring because I was pretty much was like this the entire time.
That sucks. Did you take Jake with you?
Yeah, Jake and Steph were there.
Oh yeah.
You know, my remaining family, as it were there. Got to. I want to give a shout out also to North State Gooner, who's in a chat group. Met him, and Ryan Cost. Gotta say, man, you get a shout out on the podcast when you live 3 hours away in Indianapolis, and at 2 o'clock in the morning you decide to drive to Chicago because you find out that some fat Jewish dude is coming to Chicago to watch an Arsenal game. So he definitely had a couple drinks bought for him. But Ryan, it was good to meet you. Hope to see you in the chat sometime soon. And so yeah, so that kept the game lively, even though it was a boring first half. But you know, we had a lot of non-boring first halves at the beginning of last season where the last 3 or 4 minutes. It's a pleasure not having that this time.
Yeah.
So
Well,
I mean,
and
it was good.
it was a unique start to the match as well because there was a lot of protests for the Newcastle supporters, and you know I think you've got a few players in that starting 11 who really haven't featured, let alone started in a Premier League match, and so it takes some time to get your feet going. And I think we would have probably seen, you know, a lot different of a first half had we been at the Emirates. But that being said, Mike, as you said, we went into halftime probably a little bit more on the front foot, but not having the best of the first half. We took the lead in the second half through Mainsley making just a beautiful pass to Aubameyang, who dinked his finish confidently over the Newcastle keeper. I mean, that was absolutely sublime, giving us a 1-0 lead. And I think after the goal went in, I did not ever fear that the match would turn around. I just thought it could be a snowball, but I never really thought that Newcastle could get back into it.
It was weird because you always fear that they're going to get back into it. But maybe that's a statement on kind of the Newcastle are in right now. Certainly, had we gone up on a better team on the I almost said it, away from home, then we very well may have conceded at that point. But you just never felt it coming against Newcastle. And Mainsley did all right at right back. Certainly a serviceable plug-in while we're waiting for Bellerin to get healthy and get better. And I don't want to rush Bellerin because we've done that once and we saw how it turned out. But that entire plus was incredible. But it starts with him. It starts with him working. I don't know who it was that was waiting and like sitting on a rocking chair waiting for the pass to come to him on Newcastle. But Mainsley just intercepts that pass, makes a hell of a run. The pass, Alba's first touch is not to be ignored.
No.
You know, that it wasn't exactly to take in, and there's so many things that could have gone wrong with a player. Kaku, for instance, who was the 71 million player who has no first touch, that would have gone straight to the keeper. But Aubameyang made it an easy finish with his first touch, and it was a great goal. I mean, it was fantastic.
Yeah.
And we celebrated. And for a moment, I didn't smell the guy next to me.
Now, one thing I noticed talking about celebrations was after the goal was scored, it seemed as though the entire match day squad went over and celebrated with Aubameyang, and there was just a lot of camaraderie at that point. I think the only player that wasn't in that little group was Leno. And, you know, Mike, it's very refreshing to see that. And at the end of the match, when they blew the whistle, individually, everyone seemed to kind of scream and celebrate that we'd gotten 3 points. And I'm not sure we've seen that a lot in the past couple seasons. And I think that this group of players is a lot different. I mean, someone posted a picture from 5 years ago where there's no one left from that Arsenal team now that Koscielny and Jenko are gone. I just feel like these players are buying into this new system, this new regime, and it's an exciting time. You know, it's a very exciting time.
It is, and I was talking to my son actually about this. About how the team really just seems to be together. I mean, and he's saying, well, what team isn't like that? Like they celebrate together. And I'm like, not every team is like that. I think Manchester United has become a team in the last few years where you have a bunch of mercenaries that are going there to get paid. And if they win, great. If they don't, they're still getting paid. And what you see differently in the situation is players who genuinely seem to love each other and play for each other, and that is the difference between playing at 60% of your potential and 100% of your potential. And I think those go down to dressing room guys like Douzi, who we should be talking about soon. Guys like Aubameyang, who just keep a light, inclusive, just a team atmosphere. And we know nothing about what goes on behind the scenes. Well, we know a little bit more than the average person about that, but it just seems like a team that really likes each other. And the way that Aubameyang and Lacazette are talking about integrating Pepe, and
Yeah.
they're like ready for him to be one of to turn their duo into a trio, and you just love to see that.
Well, and could it also be the fact that maybe we have a group of captains, because we don't have one or two, we have a group that are not necessarily getting the guys up for it, but maybe there's a little bit more focus before they walk onto the pitch. Maybe we're going to see a little bit of a difference. And I just want to say it wasn't in our running order, but I don't know if you had an opportunity to listen to the Ornstein podcast where he interviews the players.
No, but I've heard about that.
Right. So for anyone who hasn't heard it, go back, BBC, and I think it's in one of his most recent tweets, but he sits down with Bellerin, Mkhitaryan, Aubameyang, Pepe, and essentially...
He has to outdo us. We get the interview with Josh and Vina
I know.
and all that, and then Ornstein's got to go fucking get players.
Yeah.
What the hell, man?
But one of the conversations that he sits down, well, it was during their media day that they had, but he sits down with Xhaka, and they blatantly ask Xhaka, hey, you're captain. And one response that I loved was something along the lines of, we have to cut out the bullshit, right? And I've been barking it now for years. We've never had a captain who will dig into the team. And I think this is the guy. And he makes mistakes, but you know what? When you're the pivot player, you're going to make mistakes. But we'll get to that point anyway. We saw Pepe, Ceballos, and Martinelli play. Pepe coming off of a very shortened summer break after the African Cup of Nations. So he's not really up to snuff yet for him to play. So it didn't make sense for him to be in the starting 11. I'm almost certain he won't start against Burnley, and then we'll see him against Poole and Spurs. I'm sure, Mike, in time, we're going to see Willock drop to the bench and Ceballos actually start, in that 11. But it's nice to hear Unai discuss Nelson, Willock, and Martinelli, saying they're worthy of this playing time because they had good preseasons. They've been training very well. And on another note, he's mixing in the youth, but he also kind of made it sound like, hey, David Luiz, you may have just joined the club, but you got to stop Chambers from getting into the starting 11. And it's just great that we're seeing the entire system kind of work.
Yeah, I mean the young guys. The we've made it out is that you're either in regular rotation or you're out, and that ends up doing. I'll use Alex Iwobi 2 years as kind of an example. The year that he just struggled playing left wing all in front of Montreal. Montreal has struggled at a bad year. You're either in which case you're getting thrown to the wolves and may necessarily be ready, and expert. You're suddenly out for 2 months because you're just not in the rotation anymore, and as a young player, it kills your confidence. You've got to manage the harmony and the selections and the quality of the players in a way that keeps them focused instead of being looked as though you need harder on a regular basis. Instead of all the time and absolutely you start reaching a pull stretch, there's another in there that can play for you and give you a week or two to regain your confidence, and then you get another. And I think that's what we have at this point, where maybe 2 or 3 years ago it was like famine for some of these guys. I'm thrilled at seeing some of the younger the players. Apparently, I've got awful internet connection right now. Sorry about that.
It's coming in waves, and I was just about to say extend your antenna penis, but then I remembered that we were going to try and be more professional, but then I just said it. So, but it looks like you're back because your image looks clear. Let's go to man of the match. I know who yours is going to be, so I'll throw it over to you first, and then I'll let you know who mine is.
I mean, I was a little worried. Again, in the players that didn't start yesterday that I thought maybe would be ready was Lucas Torreira. And of course, when thinking about Torreira starting, I was thinking about Douzi not starting. And holy shit, did he prove me wrong yesterday about that. I mean, dude played yesterday at a completely different level. Did he lose the ball every once in a while? Yes, but there's no one on our squad that pushes harder to win the ball back. Maybe Mainsley. But Douzi pushes to win that ball back, and 9 out of 10 times he will. That guy was all over the place yesterday, and I was wondering if the hair makes it seem like his work rate is higher. Like, just because it's flopping around, does that necessarily mean that he's working harder, or am I just, absolutely my man of the match? I've heard shouts for Willock. I've heard shouts for a couple of other people, but was phenomenal yesterday. He was the glue that kept the team together.
Matt Walker is just listening erect based off of his comments, and I absolutely love it. My man of the match, Mike, is going to be a different one. I'm going with Callum Chambers, and this is why. Because
all right.
The last time I can remember a match where we were so comfortable in defense, and let's not be like, I'm not going to be over the top here. Newcastle gave us some scares, but for the most part, it was very organized. And Socrates is a experienced senior defender who plays international football on a regular basis, so you expect him to be good. But I thought Chambers was just very cool and calm. He dealt with almost everything that he needed to, and I'm extremely proud to see a young English center back playing for this team and not walking into the squad, but making it very difficult. And Unai made a comment that him moving to Fulham and playing as much as he did last year was the best thing for his career because he has worked himself into the rotation. And we begged and begged and begged all summer for us to get a center back. And we were slow to the paces. We didn't want to spend the 70 million. Maybe we don't need to now. Who knows? But that being said, easily Guendouzi, Willock, Ainsley Maitland-Niles, but I'm going to go with Chambers.
Is that the best loan? Is Chambers' loan the best loan that we've had since Jack Wilshere went to Bolton?
Yeah, maybe. Maybe.
I mean, everyone talks about no. Yeah, you got to add him. Hey, there he is. I'm only the second baldest guy now on the podcast.
Let it go. Let it go.
Dude, when you said that yesterday, I was dying. I was dying.
Yeah, I deserved every bit of that, man. So we were just talking about.
We'll have to link that. We'll have to link that to the thing like that. It was all of us on the way back home from Newcastle. We all got to sing that. Like it was quite funny. I knew you'd take it in good fun as well. Like so.
It's like we're talking about today, man. If you're making fun of me, I'm fine with it. If somebody less savvy than you is making fun of me, I'll go in on them. But so we were just talking about men of the match. Let's get right into it, Mr. Judge. We just got 84 new 1,000 listeners.
There you go. So there you go. I got that.
So my man of the match was Guendouzi. Interestingly enough, Andrews was Chambers, and I was going to ask you a question on Chambers, but let's hear about yours first.
My mind. Do you know what? I'm surprised that Guendouzi's got a lot of stick on the game. I thought he was quite.
Where's that coming from?
I don't understand it. I thought he played really, really well. I thought Chambers played very, very well. I also think that Monreal had a good steady game. I have to say that. I thought he done okay. Broke up a lot of play. But my man of the match, and he only played for over 60 minutes, but I thought he was outstanding in those 60 minutes, and that was Joe Willock for me. I thought he was brilliant. I thought he was absolutely brilliant. I know that he didn't last the whole game, but I thought he controlled the tempo in midfield. It's not the easiest place to play in there. As I was just saying on the same old Arsenal, like, you know, Shelby has caused us a few problems in the past. You know what I mean? Make no mistake about that, you know. But
he's one of those players that
he's one of those players,
always...
and he got on top of him, Willock, and you know, for a young kid, I thought he was really good yesterday, and homegrown player as well. Maybe a little bit of sentimental, but I thought he was brilliant yesterday, and I'm going to say that I thought Douzi was a close second. I have to say that, like, you know what I mean. And if you two said to me Douzi was man of the match, I wouldn't argue with you.
And yet, I think so many people have selected Aubameyang because of the goal. But
Mike, that always happens. Look, I'm going to say this now.
Yeah.
I was up in Newcastle. We watched Tottenham. I thought Harry Kane was absolutely awful in that game. He missed chances, his control, his work rate, everything else. That he banged in 2 goals. He got man of the match. Why? Because they was the match-winning goals. And sometimes that the forwards get all the glory. That's why everybody wanted to be a forward when they was a kid. You know what I mean? As simple as that. You get all the plaudits.
When you want the true breakdown of the tactics and the inside details, though, you come to the Gooners podcast, because that's what we're all about.
That's right. You know what I mean?
We break down the game at a level that is just not normally done.
Do you know what I'm going to say something today?
We know nothing about football.
No, seriously. If you got 100, you know, I don't know if you ever used to watch that. Was that program like, you know, 100 survey, and you get 100 people, like, you know what I mean, to what was
Family
that?
Feud?
Family Fortunes. It was called in England. It's called Family Fortunes. Right? I have 100 survey. Right? Who was man of the match? I bet it would be a cluster of players, because I don't think there's a right or wrong answer. I think that,
Don't you want that though? Like you want 5 people to be on that list, 6 people to be interchangeable. I mean, this is probably the first time.
I think that's what I'm trying to say. You could put in like 5 or 6 players from now. I don't think if someone said Douzi, I don't think you was wrong. I don't think if I was wrong with Willock. If you put Aubameyang, I don't think you was wrong. I also don't think if you put Monreal, I see someone just put up there Maitland-Niles. I wouldn't argue with that.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The only one I would argue with it is if it was Xhaka or Mkhitaryan. But they're the only two.
Yeah.
But I'll tell you what, Xhaka weren't as bad as what a lot of people are making him out to be.
No. I feel like
last
always...
year we had so many games that Leno was the only person you could list as the man of the match, and so it's beautiful to see something other than that, where it isn't so obvious who the man of the match is, because there were so many people that could have held it.
Yeah, and as Fredo said, you know, here's what I loved about yesterday's match. You could tell we were not at 100%, but no one's head dropped, no one cowered. Newcastle never seemed a threat, and that's what we want, right?
And exactly right.
Yeah, and as Judge just said, I mean, Xhaka had some awful passes, and he wasn't that bad. But I feel like we always need a scapegoat. Mkhitaryan was just God. He was
in
the
the
worst
first
player
half
on the pitch.
The second half, I thought he played well.
Yeah. But at the end of the day, I mean, we got away with the 3 points.
What was the reaction in the away section? I mean, were you just way too high up in the air to be able to properly gauge? I think that's a hell of a road trip or away trip, isn't it?
Everybody over thought he was getting their breath back in the first, though, because those stairs are unbelievable. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you know, if you've got a dodgy ticket, don't go to Newcastle. Simple as that.
How does Andy Gixter like recover? Does he just sweat like all?
He's
not allowed to go. He's not allowed to go away anymore.
He didn't go. You know what I mean? But listen, Newcastle. I'm going to tip my hat to the fans, and there's a lot of them that do it in the day. Go up there, you know, in the morning and then come back in the day. It's about 5-6 hour journey. So, you know, it's a long day to do it like that, you know. And I thought the atmosphere in there was yesterday was brilliant. You know, you're high up, you're very, very high up there, but I don't suppose you can hear it too much on the TV and everything like. But
no, we could.
In the ground,
we absolutely could.
You know, like you could really. The fans were brilliant yesterday. I think in the second half they got more vocal because the team started playing better. And I thought that it was a good. You know, it's always a good. It's a difficult place to go, Newcastle. It's not an easy place to go. and you know they stick you right up in the heavens there, which is the only ground that does that. So you know, I don't know if the players can hear us getting behind them or whatever, but we certainly tried to give it our best. We was all a bit horsey after the game, and I thought the fans yesterday were fantastic, Mike. You know what I mean? And I'll tell you what's great when you see videos of you guys in the pubs and all that, like early hours singing the songs and the Lacazette song, by the way. You know, that was fantastic. He loved that as well, like, you know, the new Lacazette song. So, all in all, you know, I thought the fans were brilliant yesterday. And I thought it was a good away performance. As I said on the interview yesterday, that as good as Manchester City were, I can't out how many 1-0s they have away from home. And there'd be 4 or 5. And no one would turn around and say, oh, that's a poor performance. Oh, the other team was crap. They say that's what good teams do. So why can't we say that? You know, it's a good performance, a good result, away from home, happy. You know what I mean? So
well, and we said it earlier, judges, and I'm sure you guys. I mean, that wasn't by far our best starting 11 either.
Far from it.
So
No,
when we go
never
out there
got
and
out of first gear, and we still got the job done.
Yeah. So when we get to go in with our full 11, you know, let's hope we kick into those other gears. Mike, should we jump into some user questions?
We will, and I have to admit that the user questions we got in advance were all stored on my phone since I'm traveling, and now I'm using my phone for this podcast. So we're gonna just rely on the chat box to give us some user questions.
Fucking amateur hour here, judges.
It is, and I don't think I didn't see those posts in the chat about my chins. And this being the chin cast. So the Gooners chin cast. Anyway, yeah.
Where are you anyway?
I'm in the Chicago Marriott.
You're still in Chicago, like, yeah?
I'm in Chicago, yeah.
The old Windy City, eh? The old Windy City.
It's windy AF. So we do have a question from, I believe it was Fredo, who said, are we going to talk about the Xhaka transfer rumors? Andy, I want to throw that over to you because you know, you are the least likely. You are my counterpart when it comes to believing and getting riled up about shit you read online. I fall for everything and I analyze and react to everything. You just like swat it away. So is that how you're feeling about the Xhaka situation?
Yeah, I mean, okay, first and foremost, we've gone through this already once this summer, and he's stated
Michael Hernandez, sorry.
He's very happy at the club. But here's two things that doesn't make sense to me, Mike. First, and you know I love Xhaka, he's not worth the 50 million euros plus whatever add-on fees that they were offering. So that is the first red flag. The second is you've just been essentially made number one captain for one of the largest football clubs in the world. So it doesn't make sense to me. Yeah, I think it's just clickbait.
Well, ain't going to go nowhere now. Why would they sell him now?
Yeah.
There's no, you know what I mean? There's no
literally
reason why.
The most nonsensical time to do it. Like whether you think it should be sold or not, that's
a different matter. Yeah, exactly. There's no, you know what I mean? We ain't going to get no one in. It's not going to happen. Not going to happen.
No. All right, Lee, I'm going to send you the next one's from Bulgarian Gooner, who says, do you think Unai will drop one of Chambers' Socrates for Louise this Saturday?
Oh, what a good question.
Yeah.
What a good question. Be very harsh if he does, but I think that if he does, we're just talking about this. You know, I think that Socrates and Louise is one part of the partnership. Holding and Chambers is part of the other one. So if Holding's playing, I think Louise will play, or Holding's playing, it'll be. I can't see Socrates and Louise playing together. In my opinion, it might happen, but I think that. Listen, I think you take in the opposition. I think that David Luiz is probably going to be a better player to play in this game because we'll have a lot more of the ball, and he's a ball player. He'll set up a lot more stuff from defence. But who to leave out? That's a harsh question. If it was me, I'd keep Chambers in there because I think that he's probably a little bit more better aerial, and. If I'll be honest, he's 24 and got chances to improve where Socrates is at a level. So difficult one that, like, you know. But I do think David Luiz will, if he doesn't come in for the Burnley game, will definitely come in for the Liverpool game. So do you need him to play before the Burnley game? So, you know,
It's tough.
who would be
It's
a
tough.
manager? Who would be a manager? Like, you know what I mean? That's a
And,
very,
and,
very difficult question.
and that's what we were saying before you hopped on, Lee, is that some of these decisions that Emery's going to have to make, it isn't just going to be kind of rolling with the same people until they just play themselves off the pitch and have to be replaced because their confidence is shot. And then the next person comes in. It may be one match in, one match out, two matches in, based on the opponents. And if he can play that violin the right way instead of just destroying it.
Exactly. It's a very good point. Maybe because Barnes and, what's the other fella's name up front for Burnley? I can't think of his name. They're both quite physical players.
Ashley Barnes, I can't stand him.
They're quite physical players. They might go with Chambers and Holding, like horses for courses, as they say. You know what I mean? If anybody can find out, tell me the Burnley striker that plays up front with him.
Well, yeah, Holding won't be back, but whether Luiz comes in, I would agree with you about his willingness and ability to play against better player against some of the top 6 teams. Maybe that's where you will put.
Yeah, I think like from that point of view, they could
Chris
go
Wood.
for Chris Wood. So they could go with. But they're 2 physical players. So will they go with one? I don't know. It's a a very tough question. But these are the
well, Gary, you've stumped Lee. You've stumped.
Yeah, you stumped me on that because
he's done. He's done podcasting because he can't get past this question.
Because realistically, isn't it good that you've got that though? Because if one, you could say, oh, like he's had a bad game, get rid of him. Like, but it would be harsh to drop one of them, Socrates or Chambers, because they've both done well. But you would turn around and say, well, the opposition weren't the greatest. I think that probably Burnley will be more of a threat, if I'll be honest, even though we're at home. Will cause us a few problems.
But look at this conversation. We have never had this depth. We've never had a team that's playing this well in the past couple seasons for us to go, hey, we can do this in multiple areas of the pitch. And then on top of that,
we're talking about our center backs right now.
I know. And on top of that, we have 2 big matches post Burnley. So you're almost looking at it saying, well, do we keep Luiz fresh and bring him in for the bigger matches? Like, we have rotation issues. We have depth. And we have not had that for so long.
All it's going to take is leaking 3 goals at Burnley to Burnley.
All
of a sudden, this whole confidence comes crashing down on us.
I will say this, against Liverpool and against Spurs, whoever is left out, David Luiz must play in both of those games. Both of those games.
Just because he's done it so many times.
Yeah, exactly. He's a proven winner. So I would play him in those 2 games there. Who he plays alongside, that's the key.
Yeah.
From Adrian Cazares, visiting Chicago next month. What's a good place to watch the match? I don't know.
Have I got a Wendy's? Have I got a Wendy's in there? Have I got Wendy's?
It's the Wendy's City is what it's called. There's Baconators everywhere. I don't really know what to tell you, Adrian, but I will make a suggestion that there's a Facebook group called Arsenal America. And if you go there and post on the main page the city you're going to and what you're looking to accomplish there, you'll get a lot of helpful people answering that. So I would strongly advise that, Adrian. User question for me from Kerry McCollum. Mike, how do you feel about Ozil possibly getting a deal with your beloved DC United? Let me make it clear, first of all, they're not my beloved DC United. They're the local team that I have available to me. Of course, if they win a championship, then they'll be my beloved DC United. But right now, I'm dealing with Wayne Rooney, who not only is a granny shagger, but he's also leaving in January, so I can get back to hating him soon. Ozil, if he comes to DC United, that's one of the rare transfers that makes both teams better. I'd be thrilled with it. Look, I don't know that you're necessarily that much safer in Washington, D.C. than you are in London at this point, if it has anything to do with that. But, does that make any sense to you, Lee? That he would go to the MLS at this stage?
Listen, we've got Ozil for another season.
Yeah, he's
We
still
got
making
Ozil for another
350,000 a week. No MLS team, especially DC United, is paying 350 a week. I mean, they might pay $3.50 a week. But that's
Oh,
not gonna happen.
I can't see him going there. If I'll be honest, if he did go anywhere, it'd be Turkey. But with all these links of which he's having at the moment, probably the best places to stay in England, or America is, you know what I mean, probably the two safest places in the world. But I can't see him going anywhere at this moment in time. I think that he's got a job to do at Arsenal, particularly this season. And
It's so maddening though that we felt like he was.
Listen,
Lee and I saw him over the summer and thought he was as back as he'll ever be back, and now there's like a completely different thing coming out of left field.
Yeah, but
and it's derailed everything again.
Listen, I think that it
gets sorted.
It gets sorted eventually, but and if you were sitting there today, you'd surely got to be excited about what you've seen there, the potential, with Pierre Aubameyang up front at this moment doing the business. I got slaughtered again with that yesterday because I was so hoarse I couldn't say.
Just call him Emmerich.
Yeah, but you've got Lacazette that weren't in there. You've got Pepe who looks like he's going to be a player. I'll tell you who else is going to be a player, boys. And this is Gabriel Martinelli.
Yeah.
He is going to be some player. What I see of him yesterday, so we've got some exciting players in wide areas and pace and all that. And if Mesut Ozil can't pick them out, then let's hope he's at DC. And if you don't like him at DC, let's hope he's somewhere far away in Miami. You know what I mean?
The only way for Ozil to go.
If Denver got a team,
we do.
If they got a team,
we do.
Stick him there, then that'll rewind our Andy up, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So.
Well,
did you say has Denver got a team? You know that Arsenal played them about a month ago.
Well, all right. I don't follow the MS. So, are you in England at this moment in time? Like,
I am. We are on the same time zone. Yes.
Oh yeah.
I won't be seeing
Welcome to England.
Hey, thank you, Lee. I won't be seeing you on this trip, unfortunately.
No, because you've been blown. Well, you've blown us out apparently. Like,
yeah. Well, I'm big
I go to
time
England
now.
for a day. I go to England for 24 hours and I see Lee 5 times.
Yeah.
You're there for 2 weeks and you're not even going to bother with it.
Family's more important to him, Mike. You know what I mean? It's out of order, isn't it? Like, you know what I mean? Right?
It's completely out of order. It's a stupid question.
Well, I sat down with my 5-year-old nephew and talked to him about how he was selfish to have a birthday on the day we played Burnley, and he asked me for a present. So
did you call him your fucking nephew? Like
you should have said, I'm taking you to the Emirates.
I should have. His dad would stab me, but I should have.
Nah, right, so.
His dad's what, West Ham?
Yeah, and a quick story. As we were walking into Upton Park for Arsenal West Ham, I turned to Will and I said, if we beat you today, I get to name your son, because my sister was like 6 months pregnant with him. He said, yes, the bet's on. My sister, who is also a Gooner, said, no, that's not happening, and the kid should be named Thierry today. But
what is his name?
Harry.
Harry?
Harry.
You could claim that you named him.
Hold on a minute. Can I just get this straight? One, you've let this bloke go with your sister.
Yeah.
And 2, you've let him name him Harry.
Go with your sister.
I'll see you at Burnley about 12 o'clock, Sam. Don't worry about upsetting him, like, you know what I mean, like, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh dear,
tickets are sorted. Tickets are completely sorted.
Yeah.
Kixers told me he's keeping me a ticket up until an hour before kickoff.
Right.
So maybe.
What's your brother-in-law's name?
Will.
Will. What a dick. You know what I mean? Like, I'm saying, like, you know what I mean? Tell old Willie. Tell Willie to do one. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
I will. I'm gonna show him this tomorrow.
Yeah.
We've had him on the pod. We had him on post West Ham.
We did.
I bet he's even happier
so memorable.
This week. Well, show him the highlights of the game on Saturday. That'll make him.
I know. I keep asking him who's bottom of the league.
They did the same last year as well, and yeah, my mate, one of Jake's ex-soccer teammates, his dad is he actually was almost England level cricketer. He played county cricket, I think. I'm speaking out of my ass. I don't know. I forget. He played at Lord's though. His name's Kevin McIntosh, but he's 20, 30 years ago, and he's a hammer. And so we were talking shit the whole time he was at the game, and it was only 1-0 at that point. I haven't heard from him since.
We'll text him and find out what cricket team he played for. I love my cricket.
I will. I will. I mean, this was back when you were like 40, like 35, 40 years ago.
You've asked me to come on here. You've insulted me twice now, right?
It says
I didn't ask you to come on me.
it says he plays for Nottinghamshire and Surrey.
All right, yeah.
Oh, is that who he played for?
Oh, I thought that's what I'm googling. In the it would have been in
Googling.
78 to 83.
I was communicating with him during the World Cup final, and he was going absolutely bonkers.
So he's played at the Oval then as well.
Oh,
then,
yeah.
like his Surrey boy.
Yeah.
And Trent Bridge. So he's played at some good grounds.
Speaking of ovals, Michael Hernandez asked, anyone else lower the brightness on their screen because of the reflection off of Lee's head?
Who's just put that? Who's just put that? We've got a keyboard warrior in the house, have we? Like,
Mike Hernandez.
I'm pretty sure it's somebody who donates generously to
I'll
the
tell you what, he better
podcast.
donate generously because we have no hands left when I see him. Right? You know what I mean?
Paul Friedman asks, how's the dry cleaning? All right, so and Sports Genius recommends the Globe Pub at Chicago. I still think that if you're going to go to the Globe Pub, you have to at least get that recommendation from the Arsenal America. Super unpopular opinion. I'm going to prevent anyone from knowing who said this. I would keep Mustafi and loan Medley. I don't think Medley ready for first team minutes. I'm bringing that up because Mustafi yesterday, look, I've been out of the loop. I wasn't paying attention before the game. I said, about an hour and a half before the game, I said, when the lineup comes out, we'll know what Emery's view on Mustafi is at this point, whether these sale rumors are real, whether he really rates them lower than a returning Chambers, and I didn't realize that he didn't even travel with the club until it was pointed out to me by 97 about how ignorant I am, which is true. But I think that's a massive thing. I mean, he has finally fallen out of it. It just seemed like, again, years past, including last season under Unai Emery, a guy like Scrotum would get on the team sheet every single week despite his play. And it just seems that's over now. Like, finally got someone who because he has one more year left to prove that he belongs at Arsenal, and they can just let him go after this year. He's finally playing his Super Bowl 11.
I didn't understand a word of that.
You turned into a robot again, and so we really support your decision, and we're proud of you. And so
going on to what he's pointing, I think what he was making is, I don't know if you see this yesterday, but Emery turned around and said, I've got four central defenders. He said, Louise, he said, Holding coming back from injury, Socrates and Chambers. He never mentioned Mustafi at all. So I think that said a lot.
Yeah, no, I read that part of the press conference and thought the exact same thing. Is, where is he throwing him in? And he has said multiple times we're going to see players leave during this window or this last couple weeks. And I think that Mustafi's probably number one on that list. And there was a question in here, I think, from Paul Friedman, was who is your basically who would be your number one target to sell this season? I would not say Mustafi. I'm going to say El Nini, only because I don't see El Nini playing that much, and he is on a wage, and we are likely not going to be able to transfer his work permit come next year, and then he'll be out of contract. So I think we should ship him now to at least get back probably 12 million for him and release his wages and put that in the bank.
Not a problem with El Nini again. I think he's been okay for us. He's a squad player, but if that's the case, yeah. I do think with and I do think this, that with Iwobi going like he did, like Emery played him quite a lot last season. I think that the players may be thinking, if they can get rid of him like that, then anybody can go. So I think that sort of decision may put players on their toes a little bit more, because I think it was quite ruthless how they got rid of Iwobi, if I'll be honest. I know that it's a good deal for all round, but they done it. There's no sentiment there, was there? Like, Bosch, done. Best deal for us, done. So I think that, yes,
that's how it goes with other clubs.
Yes, and I'm not complaining that. And so I just think that, they will be ruthless, boys. I think that they will be. I think it's great to see that there's going to be a little bit of that. If you're surplus requirements.
You said core? Is that like how is that spelled?
What do you mean core?
You're like core that about a minute ago.
Yeah,
Like it's
core.
an expression.
Yeah,
Is it
core.
COR? Is it
It's like
Don't ask me. I can't spell bloody anything. Like, you know what I mean? So
he's actually pronouncing the word car.
core. I would say. I would say, like, if you see a nice car come past, oh, that's a lovely car, like, you know what I mean? So, I think it's someone enlightened, enlighten these, these two hoodlings up
You
above
think
me.
so Mustafi and Elneny could be gone this window, according to K-Man, and I don't think our team gets any weaker as a result.
Well, listen, I think it's a difficult one to do because, say, what happens if Maitland-Niles got injured at this moment in time? Who's going to go right back?
Chambers.
We've seen Chambers
it's not ideal
in there.
Yeah, Chambers. Yeah, that's not a bad shout. You know what I mean? But like,
I'm almost certain Jenko's got it in his contract at Forest that he can come back and play.
He can come back anytime he wants.
Anytime he wants.
But so Mustafi might be you. Listen, at the end of the day, look, if Mustafi was to go for 25 million, and that would contribute us getting another central defender in January, then I'm all for that. Like, you know what I mean? I'm all for that.
Yeah, and I think the Iwobi deal was done so quickly because they know who they want to bring in with that 40 million. I think that's going to get reinvested in January, and maybe a proposed deal is already on the table for whatever player. But I just don't. We had Kevin Campbell on the pod last week and doing a preview show. And he said, anything
have you met Kevin?
Million.
I've met him once or twice. Like, nice guy, so I've been told.
Yeah, he said anything over 35 million for Iwobi, you got to bite the hand off to get it, and obviously we did. Thunder Road says I wouldn't spend more than £5 million for Elneny. Anyone paying more than that are fools, to be honest. I mean, yeah, but Thunder Road, at the end of the day, he starts in probably 14 other Premier League teams easily. You could probably put him into many other teams across Europe. So there's a lot of value for a defensive midfielder who ultimately stays healthy, seems to be a good locker room and teammate. And so,
The other thing I would say about Elneny is that, which a lot of people don't, Elneny, I would have to say this, is that I would like to see someone like Elneny playing in games in the Europa League or League Cup games, which preserves our midfield players so they're not burnt out in the Premier League.
Yeah,
so I look at it as a bigger picture. If we're travelling to bleeding Moscow, I'd rather like our Shakas and our Quindozis and our Willocks and whoever else is playing in midfield being rested up and letting them go out there, So I don't think it's such a bad thing if he does stay or he doesn't. You know what I mean? And be honest about it, boys. We only paid $5 million for him, so if we lose him for nothing in a year or so be it.
Yeah, no, it's true. It's true. Mike, what other questions you got?
What was he doing?
He's taking a piss.
Oh dear.
I like to take the piss, and I like to take one too.
It's just we don't want to hear it.
Yeah, I muted the microphone until the toilet flush happened. But rather see a kid like Burton play. Yeah, anything for you, Judge. Anything. Rather see a kid like Burton play instead of Elneny. Burton playing in the that's from K-Man. Burton playing against the Colorado Rapids and the and getting some minutes. I guess he got some minutes against, was it Fiorentina? A couple times over the summer. That's one thing, but I mean, even in a Europa League game against some team from Uzbekistan, I'm not sure he's ready for that. We probably have players that we could start in front of him, but again, we're not going to get 5, 6, 7 million for Elneny anyway. Or for Burton, so we should start on any. Bulgarian likes the PP. It just so when he starts a podcast, it's just keep that in mind. It'll be all about that. Yeah, I like it. Yeah, thank you. So yeah, this has been a little bit scattered, but still are impromptu chats that weren't expected to happen. I wanted to talk to you while you were in the motherland, hiding away. in the bowels of Hemel Hempstead.
Not nowhere even close to that shithole.
I know. I just associate you with Hemel Hempstead ever since you told me that. But yeah, I think that's going to be it for today. We got some good podcasts coming up with actual good guests. No, I'm just kidding.
Three insults now, like that.
Hey, Lee.
Am I better than Kevin?
No, Lee.
Yeah, no.
Move on.
Lee. At least I insult you
Better
in
at
text,
what?
not live on air where thousands of people will eventually.
He just won't let yesterday. He won't let it go back yesterday, will he? He won't let it go, will he?
I won't let it go. Yeah. I'm going to be visiting a stylist soon, so you may see Mike 2.0.
Well, you only need a raise. You only need one of those.
He comes out with a Gwen Douzi.
Yeah, I'll borrow Overweight D's Gwen
the only
Douzi
thing that's going to save you now is a wig. That's the only thing that's going to save you. You know what I mean? Get it all shaved off.
Can we split one? Can we split one?
Be proud of it, mate. Be proud of it.
We'll get one of the. It's like a tandem bicycle that
I can see little comb overs going on it and all that. What's all that about? Like, you know what I mean?
I think gels it down.
Ola loves to call it a comb over. It's just the way I've done my hair for the last 30 years. It's just that it's all of a sudden it's all gone, so it looks like a comb over. So,
yeah, as Thunder Road said, hit the like button before leaving, guys.
Yeah, you know what? We almost never bring that up during the podcast because we can only focus on one thing at a time. But yeah, please do hit the like button.
Hey, and Lee Judges, K-Man1867 is wondering what podcast you're going to after this because he joined us right before you did your pod.
That's right. People want to follow you on to the next show.
Well, listen, I've done one before this, and I'll give you an hour because I love you guys. That's why I've done it, and then I've come on and been insulted. Absolutely unloved.
Bye, Mike.
What did you tell me the very first time that we met?
You're a
wanker. Very first. No, it was the other thing you said.
The other thing I said. If someone takes the mickey out of you,
that's right.
You know that they like you, and I do believe. My dad always said that, son. If someone takes the mickey out of you, that means they like you.
That is exactly what I was talking about, and so
as he dropped me as a baby.
Clearly, I like you like it. I'll take the mickey out of you, and then I would like to take the mickey out of Arsenal after yesterday's performance. But anyhow, please check out goonersversuscancer.com. Check out goonerauction.com. There's about a week left in the first auction. Some great prizes, including our buddy Jack Truth donated some of his club level tickets to the game of your choice, and those tickets are available through the link. So go to goonerauction.com, go to goonersversuscancer.com, go to Andy should visit his friends while he's in England.com, and all those great websites have plenty of fun things to do for you. And after this, will you be going on Heavy D's podcast?
No. I'm hoping to have a one-to-one conversation with Willie. That's what I want to do. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you know.
Hey, you know what, Lee? Tomorrow, if you
Willie, the West Ham fan. That's what I want to have a little word with him.
You know, Lee, if you want to shoot me a FaceTime tomorrow, I can.
We can hook up, right?
Well, you know what we should do is have Leon post West Ham.
I'm gonna have a one-on-one conversation with 5 minutes. So,
Jesus! He has to go down.
He does.
You know, he does, doesn't he? Like, you know. Yeah, I'll come on the West Ham podcast when we play West Ham, like, you know, and I can meet Willie in person.
All right, so we'll get Justin Willie on for West Ham. We'll get Kevin and Sam on for Everton. We just gotta book a couple more and we're all set. All right, so we'll be back on after the Burnley game at some point. When you come home?
He is home, Mike. He is home.
Well, all right,
trick question.
I was trying to get him. When do you go?
I'll be returning to England. Returning back to Denver on the 21st.
Where actually are you now? Then
I'm down in Portsmouth.
Oh, very nice part of the world.
South Sea, yeah, to be specific. But yeah, my wife keeps telling me just go to Burnley.
Sutton.
Just go to Burnley.
Night in Sutton.
So Portsmouth, Tranmere on Saturday. Went with Willie. That was a good match.
Why can't you go? What time's the party? You got a party or something?
Yeah, so the party's from 12 to 3:30.
So,
Oh, well, you miss it all in like
It's
that,
just
mate.
not that, Lee. It's my dad's flying in from Brazil for work for like 2 days to be here. My granddad's coming down. Might not ever see him again. My in-laws are coming. Yeah, there's just a lot going on. My cousins
Yeah,
are
I see.
down, so it's a lot.
Yeah.
It's a lot.
If it would have been a Sunday, maybe, but
It would have been, easy. And West Ham are playing Brighton, so obviously an hour west or east of us. And my brother-in-law can't even go to that because it's his son, obviously. So it's just really bad timing. I even said to my sister, I will pay for the party to get moved Sunday. And just out of spite, she said no.
nah. Fancy what
Andy,
Willie having his party when West Ham are at home and all on a Saturday. I would never do that.
No.
I'm going right off that, Willie. I tell you, going right off him.
Yeah.
Put Hernandez's tweet up, Andy, because I'm not in the creator studio, so I can't do that. But
Andy, just say you hate Lee and get over it. I don't.
Thank you very much. He does. You want to
Judges,
see what he does? He's an evil man off the camera. I tell you, like,
I
you
do,
know what I mean? He's always slagging me. And once, this is true. I actually text Mike once, and Michael vouched for that. Goes, does Andy really like me, or does he hate me? Like, you know what I mean? I'm not 100% sure.
This is the
You know
beauty.
what I mean?
This is the beauty of lead judges. Lead
And
judges,
What was Mike's response? He
known
hates
as
you.
I did to Mike.
no,
I said,
when Lee texts me one-on-one, I feel a responsibility to pull off the shit, the piss-taking hat, and be a friend. I'm a mate. He's come to me a few times with some life, decisions that he needs to make, and and I think I've always advised you properly.
yeah.
That
Didn't
Andy
you
is
just
just
say
a dick.
if what was you just said? If someone gives you grief or some banter, then they love you.
Yeah, the more shit they give you, the more they care about you.
The first time I met Lee
Son
was
of a
outside
bitch.
of Highbury, where he gave me 2 minutes before he told me he had to go on the BBC.
Yeah, I tell you what, he's never forgive me for that. Do you know what I mean? He's actually he's never forgive me for that.
That was
the
the 2 minutes that you've
the
had.
BBC.
I said, I went, oh, hello, Andy. So I got fuck off. I'm going to the
Yeah.
BBC, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
BBC.
Yeah, I did.
And he wasn't talking about the British television channel.
And I
either.
turned
He
to
was
Tom
talking
Canton.
about like the Pornhub.
Yeah, I turned to Tom Canton. I said, "Who was that bald guy that just introduced himself?"
So the balls didn't mention
we have another.
You know what I mean? Like,
We have a
yeah.
question
So
from
I don't
K-Man.
think you ever forgive me for that, Andy. Did you? Really?
No,
You
I
big
haven't.
timed him. You big timed him.
But judges,
You
you are my
big
third. You're my
Yeah.
third favorite judges, and I do love you.
Yeah, I know. I love you too, Andy. Like, I remember that time when we was with Kevin. We made sure that we FaceTimed you, like, you know what I mean? And
brilliant.
yeah, basically I was saying, fucking don't do it. But
like, that was all you're trying to do with that. Yeah.
Thank you very much, Michael.
I got the shirt was just dripping. I'm like, oh, now that we got to move away, I'll call.
Every time Kevin's about now, we tell him a different pub, Tom Canton, because he just, you know what I mean, he gets himself all in an emotional state. Like, you know what I mean?
Do you remember how we almost did that after the Liverpool people, a different pub location for where Kevin was?
Yeah.
Well, it's all worked out now.
Yeah, like,
asked, Mike and Andy travel together on the. What habit do you hate about each other? This is easy, but I can take it. I've had a few beers. You can tell me.
I would say your press conference etiquette.
Have you seen that, Lee? Have you?
I've seen the one. Was that the one where you was interviewing Ray Parler?
No, Ray had a drink with us. This was when Mike went into the press conference and his cell phone was going off while they were doing the interviews to Xhaka and Unai. So
the cell
Unai
phone was sitting on the table next to Unai.
So Unai had to hand his phone back to Mike.
Oh, I've not seen that. Send me that.
If you go back,
it's on our YouTube channel.
Well, we'll send you the link.
Yeah, send me the link. Send me the link for that because I've not seen that. Like, you know what I mean? I've seen the one you've done with Ray. which was very good. But I'm going to say this because I don't really like Mike. I love you, Andy. You know,
Thanks.
he sort of took over that a little bit. Like I felt like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Lift you. You know, I wouldn't talk to him if I was you.
Well, you know, I can answer that question for Mike. K-Man, he doesn't like Andy with no sleep.
Yes. Andy with less than 14 hours of sleep a night is not someone you really want to be spending time with. So let me give some background on this, though, because I
can't believe
knew
Andy
this
being
already. I already, but we haven't had that much time together. So, and then we got to cut this off afterwards. The night we're in Denver, the Josh Kroenke interview happens. They tell us they tell us basically when we can release the information. Excuse me.
Oh,
and it's 8 a.m. LA time. We have a 5 o'clock flight to LA. We go through the night, and it's full of like wet dogs. So we left. You, Joey, by the way, and so yeah, there's absolutely no sleep happening. I'm all wired because we just got this interview, and I'm transcribing it, and I'm a big geek, and I'm all excited and getting things ready to post and working my ass off. And Andy's lying on two chairs outside of Denver airport in like 40-degree wind and bitching and trying to sleep. And the podcast that we did with the live reaction, we're like hotel that we had bought a room in and like sneaking in to do. We get to LA, we go an hour before we're allowed to, and I've been up for 40 all wired, and dude just covers himself in like mountains of comforters and pillows and just goes to sleep for 3 hours and is whining the whole time. Most insulting thing I think I've ever lived through. I love you.
Oh, that's more insulting than you waking me up from that moment, tickling my feet.
I'm like, I just had breakfast. Yeah. Come on, get up. Yeah,
Here's
I
the
did
truth.
it with the room key. I did it with the room key. I did not.
Well, that's to be determined because I didn't remember him tickling my feet, waking up. I was so tired until I was in the shower a little bit later. I'm like, did he just wake me up tickling my feet?
We'll post the video of that on YouTube soon. This is summer tour stories. Hashtag summer tour stories.
Lee, I was so deprived of sleep that Mike had to write the whole transcript out from the Kroenke interview, and it's a one-man job, right? So I was like,
I'll take you up, mate. You're right.
I'll just sleep. And then he says to me, I'm going to buy the Wi-Fi on the plane because shit was just hitting the fan with it leaking to BBC and all this stuff. I literally remember nothing of the flight. I put my headphones on, woke up when they were like, you're in LA, please get off the plane. And Mike just looked at me like, you fucking asshole. I have so much to tell you.
I wanted to go live with a sleeping for that would have been the last together. So that wasn't going to happen. But Andy's a treat with no sleep. It's definitely fun.
I'm probably one of the worst people. At least
as Matt Walker said. What? I'm sorry?
You got the hour and a half on the plane. That's what matters.
Hotel and then the feet tickle. Matt Walker says it's impossible that this pod is somewhere under the hill. Fredo said, Josh getting this and going, these were the guys that we allowed to get in with.
You got a lot of positive listeners on your pod, don't you? Like, you know what I mean? I think they're not very supportive, are they? They're a bit like typical Arsenal fans.
When we figured out that you were podding at the same time the Gooner Talk were podding at the same time as us, our chat room was just sex jokes. So that's our core audience.
Yeah, we have to appeal. Yeah, and this one's definitely this one's going on Pornhub. So I hope you've signed the release. All right, I think we should end it there. I'm meeting up with a couple of people I've met from Chicago. Brandon, who was on the podcast. Brendan, sorry, who was on the podcast at the end of last season, who actually started that the Boycott Baku thing right before the Europa League final. He's a good Gooner, interesting person, and North State Gooner, who I met yesterday at the pub. We're gonna go out and have some happy hour, and so it's time to cut this incredibly professional show off the air.
Oh,
Lee, where can we find you? What are you up to this week? 85 more podcasts.
Lee, if you find yourself down on the South Coast, let me know.
I've got no intentions of going down the South Coast, like, you know what I mean. So sorry about that.
Is Sutton more than halfway?
Well, about halfway, yeah, I'd say. Yeah, but
reading between the lines, I'll just go fuck myself.
Going to Newcastle and back. I've done enough travelling for a week, like, you know what I mean. So that's it for me. I'm done. I've done my back. I just quickly. My back went into spasm on the day of the Sunday, so I was in a lot of pain. Yeah, a lot of pain. You know, so it's not quite right now.
Oh no.
So I've had a little bit of treatment on it today. Hopefully that'll cure it. But yeah, it's not been. I was suffering, like you say. But so I'm going to have a nice rest up this week, ready for Burnley on Saturday, and then it's straight from there. I've got to dash straight off because Michelle's mum and dad are having a barbecue, and I'm going to that. I said to them, I've got to watch the Arsenal first, so they've delayed the barbecue until I get there.
That's what a family does when they love you, Lee.
That's exactly right, like,
you know. And
please give my best to Michelle's mom.
Yeah, she sounds hot.
She is hot. She's an Arsenal fan, like, you know what I mean. So her dad's a season ticket at Tottenham, like, you know. So I don't really like him.
Fredo, what did we learn today? Let Andy get at least 10 hours sleep, and that. Oh, my son's crying.
We have to stop forcing these podcasts in where they don't belong. That's the other thing that we've learned today. All right, guys. Cheers.
Hey, listen, enjoy your beers and all that. Andy, enjoy the party Saturday and a safe journey home if I don't talk to you before.
Thank you so much.
No problems.
Love you, boys.
Lee, thanks. We'll talk to you soon, buddy.
No worries. Take care, boys. Love you, lads.
Bye.
Come on, you.